And for those who are planning assassination attempts and assassination coups, it will not work. It will not work. Africa must protect Ibrahim Traoré.
I need all my copper-colored people to take this very seriously, because the last time something like this happened, it happened to Gaddafi. But now what France and the U.S. are trying to do to the president of Africa, all because he's making sure he take care of the people and his citizens. He's giving them free health care. He's giving them free Medicaid. He now opened up two tomato processing plants out there. And now they get mad and they want to arrest him because he don't want to abide by their rules. Well, guess what? Africa is not America, and they don't owe you anything. Y'all just want them resources over there from Africa. We not stupid, man. But one thing about it, when you're a great African leader and you got to deal with these colonizers that are devils and demons, it's very important that we all come together and protect this man worldwide. Because one thing about it, man, if we let them get away with this, how they got away with Gaddafi, they're going to keep on doing it until we stand up and we really unify and realize that we got the power. If you got melon running through your veins, you are 10 times greater than every last one of them cowards, and they know that. That's why they trying to get rid of that great man, because he's actually for the people. Real talk. I need all them African nations and countries to come together and actually stand up and protect this man. Real talk, citizens and all, because it's not cool to sit here and let these American bullies think they can do anything to anybody anytime they want. And that go for France too. We know how dirty y'all history is, or at least I do. I don't respect none of y'all. Real talk, man. If anything happened to this man, I guarantee y'all gonna set up an uproar in this world that y'all ain't never seen before.
Assassination attempt, coup plot, political tension. Why is Captain Ibrahim Traoré, the young leader of Burkina Faso, facing so many threats to his life?
The other two competitors are just trying to replicate what we do best.
I can imagine a situation, though, in which the ruling elite of a country is receiving gratuities on the side that inure to the benefit of the strongman leader, and not to the populace of the country. Does that sort of corruption and bribery go on with regard to the Belt and Road?
Absolutely, Chairman. I see this, and I don't mind calling them out, but Captain Traoré and Burkina Faso, as they know that both, whether it's their gold reserves, that is all those proceeds are just in exchange to protect the junta regime. There's a number of examples across. Even in Sudan, what's going on with the rapid support forces and Burhan of the Sudan forces, when you get down to it, is all about the revenue that can be drawn out of that, and there are nefarious actors in the CCP or in sometimes Russia are complicit in those activities.
Recently, there is a so-called NGO. It's not even an NGO, because NGO stands for non-governmental organization. They are not non-governmental because they are funded by a federal budget, by a state. This so-called NGO produces reports claiming that the FDS and the VDP commit abuses. It went in here, it came out there. It's to tarnish your morale. It's to scare you, to prevent you from being able to fight. No. Moreover, we are going to file a complaint against this NGO because people need to understand something. What is happening to us here? It's true that they have manipulated part of our populations in the Sahel here, but they didn't have that kind of weaponry. What brought such significant weaponry into their ranks? It's Libya. Who destroyed Libya? It's this NGO, the same NGO that made false reports and gave them to those who wanted to create a rebellion so that people would intervene and overthrow Gaddafi. And the powder keg ended up being poured into the Sahel. These millions of lives that have been taken in the Sahel, we must file a complaint against this NGO because it is responsible for these false reports it made to support this thesis of attacking Libya. They have no moral lessons to give us. Look at the world. let them go defend human rights all over the world first before coming here. We are fortunate to have similar situations. In this world, you voluntarily committed yourselves. There are countries where people are forcibly taken, killed. You leave or you die. Others, even while trying to flee, end up dying. They don't talk about human rights because these people see us as subhumans. They see us as slaves. That's how it is in their minds. They have never changed their mindset, but it's up to us to show them that we are not slaves and we will never accept this state of affairs.
Very, very brief. It's about Ibrahim Traoré, the Burkina Faso president. I have to say I was very, very disappointed. Very, very disappointed to hear that Burkina Faso citizens abroad were protesting against his government. How can you protest against someone who is effectively changing geopolitics in Africa? How can you effectively say that you are protesting against Ibrahim Traoré? What has urged me to respond on this platform is because someone wrote to me through my people asking me to address the Ibrahim Traoré situation. It is clear to me that there is an issue with his leadership. And when I say an issue, not necessarily an issue, but people are worried and concerned about how he is conducting and making sure that he effectively caters for Burkina Faso citizens. I don't see anything wrong with that. I don't seem to understand why Burkina Faso citizens abroad were protesting if it wasn't because you have been paid to protest. He, in my view, from what we can gather, has had 18 assassination attempts. That is a world record. 18 assassination attempts. And I'm talking about fake assassinations. 18 assassination attempts. That is worrying. I'm calling on all African leaders to do what we can to protect Ibrahim Traoré. I know that not all African leaders support the way he has taken over power, but it is clear to me, and it is clear to those who want to get rid of him, and those protesting, and those who support him, that he is very, very effective as a leader. And I am supporting Ibrahim Traoré all the way. All the way. I would not repeat this. Ibrahim Traoré has all my support. And to all Burkina Faso citizens, both abroad and in your country, make sure you fall behind your leader. What we are experiencing in Africa is great. He's changing geopolitics for the better. And for those who are planning assassination attempts and assassination coups, it will not work. It will not work. Africa must protect Ibrahim Traoré.
Malcolm X was stating the facts when he said they will hire one of us to kill one of us just to say one of us did it. Don't let that go over your head.
Do you know how much dignity it takes to say no to the IMF when they come at you and say we'll give you billions and billions of dollars? And you say, no, thank you very much. I don't want it. I care more about my people.
Yeah.
Most puppets in position, especially in these African countries, are out here for the money. Now here comes this supposed chosen one, the Messiah of Africa, the hope of Africa, Ibrahim Traoré, saying no to money. All these puppets are saying to themselves, what the hell is this? This is, to some extent, some of these puppets think that Ibrahim Traoré is being disrespectful by rejecting these loans.
Yeah. I saw something like that. Stubborn. I believe I saw that word. Stubborn for rejecting the IMF loan.
And there's some puppets around here that will say, you don't care about your people that much. Because if you did, you take that money, you take that opportunity, those means, and try to go and build some things in your country.
These citizens are applauding him even more and supporting him even more for saying no to that.
You see this man here? He needs super armed security. In fact, the entire world needs to do a chained prayer for this man. Just within 2 years, do you know what Ibrahim Traoré has actually done? First of all, he just made education free for everybody in Burkina Faso, which is crazy. He also launched an emergency ambulance service, and I've never heard of this in any African country. The service aims to provide 24-hour emergency healthcare to all citizens regardless of financial status. And under his leadership, like I said, this is just within 2 years. Burkina Faso's GDP, which is the gross domestic product, which is used to measure how well a country is doing economically, grew from approximately 18.8 billion to 22.1 billion. He also reduced the salaries of ministers and parliamentarians by 30% and increased the salaries of civil servants by 50%. He paid off Burkina Faso's local debts. He established 2 tomato processing plants. He put a stop to the export of unrefined gold from Burkina Faso to Europe. And to my understanding, he's actually trying to build a gold refinery in Burkina Faso. He banned French military operations in Burkina Faso, he banned French media in Burkina Faso, and he expelled French troops from Burkina Faso. Now, why the French are angry about this is because usually Francophone countries depend on France to some capacity. And if other countries, Francophone countries within Africa, start getting self-sufficiency, then we'll need France, leaving France's role redundant. And ultimately, France will become a third world country. Without Africa, France is a third world country. Remember that.
Yo, why do they keep trying to kill this man? After now 20 failed assassination attempts on the president of Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traoré, I now know why they're calling him the most important black man on the planet. He answers the question, what would happen if Africa just thugged out, took its own resources by force, and distributed them equitably among their population without corruption? Well, he did that. And now they're mad about it. And now after just 2 years in charge, he's got a list of accomplishments that put other African leaders to shame. Dude literally stopped the export of Burkina Faso's gold to Europe. Increased productivity, taking Burkina Faso's GDP from 18.8 billion to 22.1 billion dollars. Then the dude banned French military exercises in Burkina Faso. Then he kicked out French media and French troops. Bro built new railroads, new highways. He invested in hundreds and hundreds of tractors for their farming capacity. He got brand new high quality seeds for the farmers to produce so that they can feed themselves. And he banned them weird ass British powdered wigs they be wearing in the parliament and court. He was like, no more of that. We African and that just looks strange on y'all. And now he's spearheading the alliance of the Sahel states between Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger, because these are all formerly French colonized places. They speak French, and they just decided we gonna defend and protect ourselves, create a block, and trade with each other. Holla bad. Listen, this is leadership. So yeah, France acting like a jealous ex. Now that they see the one they abused doing good, they want to intervene with force. And here's how it plays into the greater picture. Because, in case you haven't noticed, the world profits from dirt cheap African minerals. But if Burkina Faso and the Sahel states show that, number one, we can kick out colonizers, and number two, we gonna make y'all pay fair market prices for the resources within our dirt, that means that this might start a domino effect in Africa. Some are calling it the Ibrahim effect, and it's already taken place because young folks all over the continent is calling out for more leadership like Ibrahim Traoré. Low key, us Black Americans could use some more leadership like that too. African leadership and Black American leadership suffered the same problem. The OG original leaders who really was about the people got killed off. Our Dr. King and Malcolm X got killed off. There, Patrice Lumumba and Thomas Sankara got killed off. And then a bunch of sellouts and greedy ass mooches and leeches have taken over and abused the people's finances and faith. And there needed to be somebody to stand on business actually for the people with brute force against the colonizer and benevolence with their own people. And that is the example that our brother is setting in Burkina Faso. This means that we could be turning over a new leaf as a people if we follow this man's example, because it's like, what is white supremacy really but an evolutionary force for those who have been subject to it to overcome? And so when you're talking about evolutionary forces, you have to ask yourself, what is this force trying to make me? And the faster you get to that end product, the faster that pressure dissolves. So like, why did Africa fall? It fell partially because of its openness, because we had a kind of like Dr. Kingian way of looking at the world, and that everybody's our brother and we want to be benevolent with folks. Well, that works with folks who have that consciousness. But if they don't have that consciousness, you have to adapt behavior necessary to meet the challenge to preserve your own life. That's what the Malcolm X's of the world were trying to teach us. But they got assassinated before they could adapt the philosophy into hard power. Some places of the continent, they did get really forceful military leaders, right? But then they went too far into the other direction and started exploiting and dominating their own people out of greed. Nah, the pendulum got to balance. You got to ride the center. You got to be Martin Luther King with your brother and Malcolm X to the other. So this brother, Ibrahim Traoré, steps up and he was like, let me learn the lessons from history in order to make me effective. I got to be benevolent with my people, but I got to be effectively militaristic enough to protect the beautiful thing that I'm building. And the sooner we get there, following this cat's example, humble yourself, be man enough to say I can learn from him, then the sooner that we get to where we need to be outside of this whole white supremacy dynamic. Because I don't know about you, but I'm done with that.
Today, we dive deep into the real reason behind the repeated assassination attempt on President Captain Ibrahim Traoré. First, who exactly is Captain Ibrahim Traoré? A military officer who seized power in September 2022, becoming one of the world's youngest leaders. He led a coup that ousted Lieutenant Colonel Paul-Henri Damiba, claiming Damiba had failed to address Burkina Faso's security crisis. Traoré promised reforms, sovereignty, and a stronger fight against terrorism. Burkina Faso is at war, not just against terrorists, but also against external and internal forces. The country faces relentless attacks from extremist groups. The military struggles with equipment shortages, foreign influence, and internal corruption. Traoré's aggressive stance against French military presence upset powerful international actors. His pivot towards alternative allies like Russia and regional partners made him a bigger target. Several forces may have a motive. Jihadist groups see Traoré as a major threat to their expansion. Political elites, old politicians, and former military leaders fear losing their influence and wealth. Foreign interests. Some foreign powers are uncomfortable with Burkina Faso asserting full independence from former colonial structures. Internal betrayal. Divisions within the army, those loyal to the old system, have sparked coup plots and assassination plans. According to reports, several plots have been uncovered. In September 2023, the government announced it fought a coup attempt. Several military officers were arrested for planning to overthrow Traoré. Whistleblowers from within the army and intelligence services have helped prevent this attempt, but the danger remains constant. Despite the threat, Captain Ibrahim Traoré remains incredibly popular among many Burkinabe people. He is seen as a symbol of hope, sovereignty, and resistance against foreign dominance. Many citizens admire his courage to challenge powerful forces, but this very courage puts him in constant danger. In Burkina Faso, the fight is bigger than one man. It is a battle for true independence, safety, and dignity. As the threat grows, so too does the resilience of a nation determined to decide its own destiny. Will Captain Ibrahim Traoré survive the storm? If you find this video insightful, do not forget to like, subscribe, and share. Leave a comment below. What do you think lies ahead of Captain Ibrahim Traoré and Burkina Faso?